Do you struggle with prioritization, or do you have a team that struggles with prioritization? This is something I hear from my clients all of the time. I can't get people to prioritize, or I can't prioritize myself. There is actually a really interesting psychological reason to why people can't prioritize, and you're going to be shocked when you learn about it. So one of the symptoms of alexithymia, which is essentially emotion blindness, is the inability to prioritize. And so if you think about it, it actually makes sense. So we actually know that 10% of the population has clinically diagnosed alexithymia, which means that they have the inability to kind of perceive their emotions or to describe their emotions. It's essentially like an emotional color blindness. These types of individuals often seem like they're kind of at this level all of the time. And to them, it just seems normal. Like if you are alexithymic, it typically like you don't think there's anything wrong. But there are some issues that pop up with this type of kind of neurodivergence, and that is the inability to prioritize. And we actually are becoming a bit more emotionally blind as a society in general. And so this type of thing is rising and rising. And the reason that we can't prioritize when we have a blindness to emotion is because emotions help us decide. So there's like actually a case in psychology in which there was a man with damage to his limbic system. And essentially when he had all of this damage to his emotional center of the brain, all of the scientists thought like, wow, this man is going to be the most logical man in the world. We're going to study him. He's probably going to go out there and get all of these amazing things done because he won't be weighed down with emotion. The problem is the opposite happened. So what happened is that, the scientists were all excited after, he healed from surgery and etc. And they were watching him, and the man just sat there. He literally just sat there because he didn't even have enough emotional capability to make the decision to get out of the chair. And this makes perfect sense if you think about it, because if you're thinking about it, like if you're sitting in a chair, what actually drives you to get out of the chair? Because logically, you could make an argument for sitting in the chair and you could make an argument for getting up. And those are pretty much even. Like there's really, like you could argue forever. Like you could literally argue in your mind forever and give yourself reasons to get up out of the chair or reasons to stay in the chair. And the only thing that really gets us to get out of the chair are emotions. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you see someone you want to speak to. Those are all emotional motivations. And so when you don't have an ability to sense emotion, like in the case of alexithymia, emotional color blindness, then it is actually really difficult to prioritize, because to you, all of these tasks kind of look kind of the same. And it feels like it would take some type of like great cognitive feat to actually figure out like which one is better than the other, or which one should I do first, because you could actually logic it forever. Like you could give reasons why you should do task A first versus task B first, and you could think about that literally forever, because it's emotions that actually allow us to prioritize. So if this is something you're struggling with, or if your team is struggling with this, I encourage you to maybe schedule an intro session with me in the link that I have in my bio, because this is something that can be overcome. Like we know how to overcome this in psychology. And so I can kind of give you a few strategies on things you can work on to learn how to have that emotional intelligence, that emotional dexterity that will allow you to actually prioritize and get the things done that are most important, or allow your team to do so.